Good morning once again, and for those of you who are just joining us, this is UBCT Live. We come to you from Nile Avenue. That is where our headquarters are situated, and I'll welcome you to the agenda here on GMU. And as we are commemorating the International Women's Day 2026, please join us as we dissect into matters of women, of ladies, of girls, this very day, the 4th of March 2026. And this year's theme calls us to scale up investment to make sure that we do accelerate access to justice for all women and girls. Justice is not only defined in courts of law, it is reflected in equal opportunities economically, and also empowering all the women so that they can have access to health services, protection from violence, and the ability of women and girls to make informed life choices that have not been influenced by maybe other third or second parties. And today we do explore how investing in livelihoods, youth empowerment, and strategic communication can transform lives and create safer, more equitable communities. And we are delighted to be joined by our distinguished guests today, Juliet Namukasa, who is a country director, LM International, supporting women's livelihoods and community well-being in northern Uganda, Agago Abim Changwari, and also the chairperson of UOPA. Good morning, Juliet.
Good morning, Joanne.
How are you?
Doing well. Nice being here this morning.
Really, it's a pleasure.
Speaking to Uganda. I love Uganda. Okay. We are the pearl of Africa. That gives me a lot of pride and confidence wherever I go. So good morning, pearl of Africa.
Okay, and another guest we do have on set today is Anna Navuria, who is the Deputy Director, Uganda Youth Development Link, leading youth empowerment and vocational skilling initiatives in Masoli, Natete, and Makinde. Good morning, Navuria.
Good morning, Miss Joan. How are you?
I'm well, and you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Happy Women's Day to you in advance.
Happy Women's Day to you.
Happy Women's Day to you, Juliet.
Thank you, thank you. I celebrate being a woman.
Oh, okay. First things first, tell us about what you do in your organization. Is it an NGO? What is your WAPA for someone out there who is just listening or viewing us for the first time?
Thank you so much. I'm wearing two sets of shoes. I'm the country director for LM International. We are an international organization supporting the government of Uganda to increase water access, safe water access to communities that are water stressed in the refugee setting of Rhino Camp and also Kyangwali, but also promoting hygiene and sanitation in northern Uganda. We also engage in livelihood and food security enhancement within those communities, look at aspects of mental health and psychosocial support, because we really work among those people who have been affected by the war, like in Pade and Agago. And also we engage in skills development.
Okay.
Amongst the youth. And our work, we work so much very closely to community structures, the faith actors and the cultural leaders, because we know that where we are not as NGO workers, then they take over and lead community transformation. Very
profound. Nabulia, what is LM International? What do you do? What do you focus on? What are your objectives?
Thank you, Joanne. I actually work for Uganda Youth Development Link, UDEL, which is a non-government organization that was started in 1993. We're actually celebrating close to 32 years in existence.
Oh, wow.
Working with young people in the vulnerable informal settlements within the urban slum communities of Uganda. And we basically reach out to young people who have been affected in one way or another with alcohol, drugs, and substance use, young people that have been trafficked, young people that have been sexually exploited. So we work with a continuum of social issues that young people face in today's growing and diverse economies. We do a lot of socio-economic rehabilitation, which looks at livelihood skills empowerment, psychosocial support. We look at aspects of counseling, mental health care, but also trying to do family reintegration and reunification, and ensuring that young people are able to start small businesses if possible, if we can achieve the economic reintegration back into their communities once we have gotten in them. But our biggest work involves a lot of prevention and advocacy work, and we do a lot of research as well to inform the interventions that we design for the young people. On a daily basis, we work with close to 1,300 young people every day within our 4 youth drop-in centers in Kampala, that is in Makindye, Mukono. We also work in Natete, we also work in Bwaise, and also in Makindye and Banda. But we also have a youth rehabilitation shelter where young people can go and be supported for those that have severe issues that they are faced with within their different communities, where we can take them and have more integrated and intense psychosocial support before we can reintegrate them back into their communities. But they can only stay there for not more than a year. After a year, we should have either supported them to live independently, or we should have reunited them with their families.
Okay, so is this only inclusive for women or even other genders?
We work with both genders, boys and girls, but we basically look at the ages of 14 to 24 years.
The young adults?
The young adults.
Are they the most problematic? Are they the most problematic?
From our experience, that's where we have seen most of the alcohol use, which is up to 50% of alcohol use starting before the age of 18.
Okay.
Sexual exploitation from our data shows that we have at least 60% that have been sexually exploited by the age of 16. When you look at trafficking in persons, it's also another aspect that is, affecting them within their emerging adolescence stages as they move into adulthood. Okay. So we've seen a lot of social problems starting to emerge, but more really the alcohol use and drug use coming in from the age of 15, 16, 17, and escalating all the way up. So that's where we focus a lot on, that's why we chose to focus a lot on the young people, but also we believe that if we focus on the young people, we will have a better generation in the future. Uganda having over 50% of our population being young people below the ages of 30.
Okay. Now we are looking at issues concerning women, and the theme is scaling up investment to accelerate access to justice for all women and girls in Uganda. You can voice your thoughts, you who is viewing us right now, on our WhatsApp number, which is 0709 602592. I said 0709 602592. You can offer your perspective on the discussion so that we can share your 2 cents. Now, Juliet, there may very many underserved districts in Uganda. For example, Abim, Agago, women face economic exclusion and limited access to services. How has investing in women's livelihoods improved our households' stability and their ability to be able to seek justice and participate in decision making?
Thank you so much. Now, I would like us to have just a bit of picture of the communities in Pade.
But by the way, I've been to Agago, and it's a very remote area. And when I was there, I imagined, could I even survive a week staying there? And it was just unfortunate.
I did not know when you went there. When we first went there in 2008, shortly after the war, the situation was really very, very bad. Over the years, we've had a bit of change. Now, when you come from Kampala and you go there for the first time, even today, you feel like it is so remote, things are not really good. But for us who have been there over time, we have seen changes. Now, investing in the woman in Pade and Agago, it's very, very important to appreciate their levels of education, because that's where one of the biggest problems come from. When we went to Pade, we realized that the illiteracy rates for most of the women was really high. because they are looked at as home keepers culturally, and I think because the levels of education there are still low, so the lower the levels of education, the lower the appreciation of education for the girl child.
What kind of literacy levels are you talking about? Because for an ordinary Ugandan out there might think people in the northern Uganda do know English, and to them basically being educated could just be knowing English. So can you expound on that?
It's really because of the few whom we interact with, whom we say they know a lot of English. When we went to Abim, we were shocked. Abim there, many people know English for some reason that I haven't understood. Okay. But Pade and Agago, even the ability for the women to write, we've had some groups that we started, and women had to bring in men to help them write, because you'd find that 70% of the women in that group they cannot write, they cannot read. So even in economic engagement, they would have to bring in men. So for me, the starting point is to enhance literacy and numeracy for these women. Otherwise, without them, unless the men are good, they can easily take advantage, because it's the man who signs the agreements, it's the man who knows how the bank is working and all that. When money comes on the phone, maybe the woman cannot even know which message she has received. So that is part of the problem. And that's what we have seen challenging in livelihoods. They go in there, but they cannot manage. They need men to support them. However, where we have succeeded and the women are able to take charge of their small businesses, we have seen tremendous change. Okay. Now, the challenge we have is that in a culture where women are considered to be partly property, we call them glorified assets because of the bride price. And it's the men who told us whenever they would rank their assets, women would be on top of the radar. And for the women, they would just own the kitchen. However, these women who own the property in the kitchen many times have to take responsibility of paying school fees for their children. And we know that today we talk about universal primary education, where education is supposed to be free. We're supposed to have free primary education. Okay. We realize that they still have to contribute to the PTA fund, Parents' Teachers Association fund. They have to buy books, uniforms, and you'll find that children are out of school simply because they cannot contribute 10,000 shillings a month, a term. And where is the man? Maybe the man is engaged in alcohol use because there the drinking is, taking alcohol is so high. Some of them say that is how they cope with trauma. So we saw in Pade and Agago, men taking alcohol early in the morning. You give them livelihood enhancement funds, but the men are not working, they're taking alcohol. So when we empowered the women and they were able to provide for their households, we saw an increase in in children going to school, but also mothers able to feed their children. Medical expenses, women would have to come in because at times the men would not really be there. So it really improves the quality of life, the quality of the household.
Just to interject you a bit, Juliet, from what you're saying, does it mean that in Agago, Padel and Abim, women are more engaged in work compared to the men?
Traditionally, that's not what it's supposed to be. But in homes where you find that the men are using a lot of alcohol, then the women have to come in and take lead. Okay. We look at them as beasts of burden. I remember we gave them oxen and ox plows, and we were shocked that we would find the women managing the oxen and ox plows, and the men would be at home because alcohol is accessible. You can find it anytime, anywhere you want, and it is very, very cheap. So that was part of the problem. Today we are pushing, and also we are encouraging And in empowering women, what we have realized that if we just talk to the women and we leave the men behind, the burden of the women increases. And it is actually the men who told us, you are talking to our wives. Can you also talk to us? Because we are the ones who cause most of the problems.
It's very good that they even acknowledge that they cause the problems.
Yes.
But you can profile your thoughts on our WhatsApp number, that is 0709-6025-92. We are in the Women in Celebration Week, which is going to be celebrated on Sunday, and that is International Women's Day. So to you, Nabulia, you have talked about the kind of work you do in areas like Natete, Masoli, and Makindi. Our viewer out there would want to know tell us briefly about the transition of these people, of these young adults, from vulnerability to self-reliance and responsible life choices.
Yes, thank you, Joanne. One of the things that we have seen in the work that we do with young people is that we are getting quite a number of young people that are dropping out of school very early, from the age of 14, 13. And that's most likely around primary 7. Once they leave primary 7, transiting into secondary level education is a bit difficult. And this is where most of the social issues are starting. We are starting to see alcohol use. We are starting to see peer pressure. We are starting to see acceptance of certain norms and behaviors that are getting them to engage in risky behaviors that in one way or another expose them to alcohol use, expose them to sexual exploitation, expose them to aspects of you know, other sexual reproductive health issues.
Constance, yeah.
We've also seen teenage pregnancies also starting to hype within those ages of 15, 16, because there's limited parental support given the social norms and the social cultures that we are seeing nowadays within the communities where children have been left to fend for themselves, or children have been left to think like adults. Children have trusted more of their friends than the parents that they are staying with, because parents either not having enough time or parents are too busy trying to find money to pay the school fees and the other pressing issues at home, you know, providing shelter for this particular young person. So they do not have the time to now look at the young people. Now young people are basically being raised by the social media that we are seeing these days, TikTok.
Okay.
And they are getting lots of advisors on TikTok, on social media, and they're being exposed to quite a number of other vices, which include sometimes advertisement of alcohol and other drugs on there. And their friends are telling them it is cool for you to drink. It is cool for you. When you drink, you're a man. You have grown into an adult. They are portraying different aspects of alcohol on social media in a way that it is glorified and has been acceptable by this particular age group of young people that are within the ages of 14 to 24. We are seeing young people these days now jumping onto tour vans.
Okay.
And within the tour vans, there is live music, there is drinking all the way through up country as they are going on tour events. So this is becoming a concern. We are seeing a lot of young people now starting to rent A&Bs. And what happens within Airbnbs, what is happening there is a lot of happening, drinking,
house parties,
celebrating, house parties.
Yeah.
We are seeing a normalized culture that is now, you know, bridging young people into the drinking, or incorporating young people into the drinking culture. We are seeing most of our local celebrities who are using alcohol, and these are the people that the young people look up to. They want to dance like them, they want to sing like them, they want to associate in the way they behave, but they're also using the alcohol and the other drugs. We are also seeing some parents who are also actually drinking and using these drugs in front of their children, because usually when we have parties around the home, we see quite a lot of menus that start with alcohol. Is there alcohol on the menu? If it's not there, then
alcohol and women, and there are girls there.
There are girls there, there are young boys there, and they are all celebrating, and there is no supervision at that time, whatever is happening. So we are starting to get a lot of teenage pregnancies that are a result of sometimes family relatives or people that are strange to them that have come to that party. And we are starting to see this behavior being glorified in many, many ways. But we are also seeing where young people are now giving themselves a device.
Okay.
They come in and then say, hey, for you to survive, you won't survive as a housemaid in this particular home, but if you come and join me in Club X, we will be able to do what? To survive. So they are starting to engage into sexual behavior at an early stage, and once they are into those situations of sexual behavior, transactional sexual relationships, to gain money for survival or to try and build a life for themselves, they are also using drugs to deal with the circumstances that underlie that kind of activity, and alcohol is also part of the culture there.
Okay.
So we are seeing them in a line of vulnerability, and for us now to cross into resilience is a bit difficult. You need to first of all look at their mindsets. You need to look at aspects that will deal with their mental health issues and the stressors that have pushed them to the edge of where they are now. You need to pull them out of there using very sensitive measures. Sometimes you may even have to use social media to counter-react the other messages that they've been getting on social media. Sometimes you may have to use their friends. It's not very easy because I cannot come from here as an adult and go and talk to them. They'll say, how do you understand? I mean, you're not a Gen Z.
Yeah,
you're not in these days, it is another generation besides the Gen Zs now. There's the alpha that is coming that we really cannot understand us yet. In 2 minutes, they are already on Facebook Googling what you're talking about.
Yeah, true.
So it's a bit difficult now for us to parent in this particular generation. So you may need their fellow peers to support in aspects of doing that, but you also need the economic empowerment as the key intervention to support the psychosocial elements.
Thorough remarks there from Nabulia. Now over to you, Juliet. From your submission, there seems to be quite a number of structural barriers that women still face in rural areas in accessing health services and economic opportunities. How best do you think kind of partnerships help to close these gaps?
Thank you so much, Joanne. We have seen NGOs coming in, non-government organizations, to support the government. When we look at a place like Padey, for example, right now we have maternal care is very, very limited. We have many women who are still in the childbearing age, and the facilities are not enough. But we are seeing non-government organizations coming in to offer some of those services to help the government, and that is on the increase. And that's one of the things that we are calling upon. But also in terms of creating awareness. Now, one of the challenges that we face is actually ignorance or misinformation. So the non-government organizations are coming in a lot to support in that area. Many times, even when we want the community development officers to go and meet the people, some of them would, communities, some of them will tell you, we do not have fuel in our motorcycles, we are not facilitated. So NGOs come in and offer that support. But also the other one that we are bringing in strongly is to speak to faith actors. People do not have, faith actors do not have to pay to go and meet the communities, because the communities come to them. So we are challenging faith actors to turn the pulpits into platforms for holistic community transformation. In the past, we saw that they would speak a lot about the spiritual issues, and then we're telling them that actually the spiritual life is struggling because the physical needs are not met. If a woman cannot take her daughter to school because the schools are very far, then we need to find a way of supporting that woman. If she cannot access medication because she doesn't have money, or she's actually very far, Padey villages are huge. Even for us NGO workers who have cars and motorcycles, you find that driving from the farthest point of the village to the next one, it is really very far. So we are we need to see that there is transport, and some of those villages do not even have like taxis like what we have here.
Yeah, I saw that in Agago, and I was taken aback. But there is a comment coming in from one of our viewers. It must, I think, it must be directed to you, Juliet. Good morning, Joanne, and thanks for the presentation with our visitors in the studio. My concern is, as we are empowering women to take on responsibilities in the homes, there is slight increase in domestic violence where they have lost respect for their husbands and end up becoming single mothers. How is the organization addressing this? Women have gained powers and forgetting much as they are empowered, still remain housewives in the home. Esther Nakayinze, Senior Probation and Social Welfare Officer, Manafa. Thanks for the program. It's educative.
Thank you very much. Now, that has been one of my concerns, that as we empower the women, we are seeing violence. And it is because this empowerment is not holistic in nature. So we look at the woman, we empower her economically, we push her into education, but what are we doing with a boy child? What are we doing with the men? We are leaving them out. For us in Pade, women realize that we cannot push them forward and leave their men behind. So when we gave women startups for livelihood enhancement, they told us, can you please support our men also? So we had to tell the donor that this is what the women are saying. They need their men to be brought on top. I mean, to be brought in the program and be supported. So when we are talking about women empowerment, as an organization, what we are looking for is also positive masculinity. Okay. When a man's ego is hurt, they will be violent. And some of us women do not know how to handle the power that we have received. So what we do, we also challenge women to know their role, that being economically empowered does not mean that you have become the head of the home. You are the woman. Know your position. We are empowering you for you not to be abused rather than you abusing. Okay? So know your position, understand. It is a whole holistic approach. And for Uganda, we see that many people are faith-based. They embrace faith. So we are bringing on the faith actors also, as I've said, to bring this holistic gospel on the platforms, because our cultures have put men somewhere. And now we are coming in to empower the women because culture has somehow made them vulnerable. Now we are saying, can we strike the balance?
Okay, Juliet, amidst all this, we do have laws and legislators that are forming policies to make sure we mitigate all these vices, all these bad behaviors when it comes to women, especially in rural areas. What do you think the government should be doing to enable us go away from that negative side of the rural women?
We are creating, I mean, we have the laws in place, but now I will speak for what I saw in Pade, because for me that was a shock. We know that if there is gender-based violence in the home, you can go, you can report, and so we saw these women who would be battered by their husbands. They would run to police. The police would come, apprehend their husbands. These very women would be the ones who would go back to the police and say, release, free my husband. Because once he's in prison, then I will have to bear the entire responsibility at home. So just having the law in place is not enough. We need all the other supporting, complementing factors to be there. That's why we are saying empower the woman so that she does not feel that she has to be battered into submission because she has to survive, but also support the police. Okay. Many times these women would need support from the police, but then the police would say, we can't ride the motorcycle because it's not fueled. They would reach out to the girls and say, maybe the girl has been defiled. But to go and seek justice, the police is not and facilitated. So we need funds in those areas because the people are already poor. And if the government does not offer support to enable the law take its course, then it is, I don't want to say as useless, but it is weak.
Okay.
And this is when then we call upon the cultural actors to come in. And we have seen cultural actors and also structural, the local structures at the grassroots coming in very, very strong. They have been very powerful. They have supported the LC1s, LC2.
The local government, the 5-tier structure.
Yes, it has worked very, very well. That before they get to the police officers, at least at community level, they have come in, and those voices are respected and valued. Okay,
as we're coming to a close to this, I'm coming to you, Nabulia. Kizito Joseph Sentema Road. Why don't you empower the young ones? Because the old ones are already taken away by alcohol, especially in Agago, through giving examples to their fathers and mothers known to be like them. I think it will work very well. I think that is why they are here. They're addressing this concern. So Nabulia, just in a few seconds as we are concluding, from your experience with youth, women, and also communities, the regulation on alcohol, because there is an alcohol bill, do you think it should be banned or it should be controlled? It should be controlled or regulated, alcohol consumption.
Thank you, Joanne. My thinking is that we need to start the conversation on regulation of alcohol, the processed and also the illicit alcohol, because this is where we are seeing most of the harm happening. The gentleman who was just sent in a message, Joseph, around why don't we focus on the young people. I mean, this is where we now need to start catching on the young people. I talked about earlier in my starting statement that our biggest population of Uganda is young people. 50%, actually 70% is young people under the age of 30 years. 75%. And if we do not catch them now, it's going to be difficult. The regulation of alcohol, drinking, advertising, making it very available. I was shocked the other day, one of our colleagues sent us a WhatsApp picture and a video. They were at the burial. And you know these people that vend sodas at the burial? Yes. They were now vending alcohol. Oh. It has become that available for everyone to access. Not knowing the age limits, not knowing the dangers, not knowing the costs impact. It's easily available. It's at very minimal costs. When you go to developed countries, you don't see alcohol being sold on the streets like that. I mean, this is a burial. Remarks
there. Let me have your closing remarks for the interest of time.
So I think for me, we need to start the conversations. We need to start going very fast. We need to have awareness being one of our key interventions and prevention as one of our key investments, because when we invest in prevention, then it means that we will reduce the costs of the impact of alcohol use on young people.
Okay, in case one wants to seek help, how can they contact you? Where are you located?
We are located on Sapolo Kagwa Road. They can feel free to walk in. We are just opposite Starbucks petrol station. So please walk into there and you can get all the necessary support you can need, or even have conversations if you just want conversations or other interventions.
Okay, thank you. Juliet, your parting shots briefly.
Thank you so much. As we look at empowering the women, investing in them, one of the reasons why we are here is because we are talking about alcohol prevention. And UIDL and LM International, we are all members of Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance. We are coming back with the bill, because that's one of the ways of investing in women. We need to protect them. We need to protect our children. We are crying out still to the Minister of Gender, Minister of Education, Minister of Health. Make your voices heard more and more so that we protect the young people, so that any investment we make in women counts a lot more. And if you're interested in the alcohol discussion, Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance is available on Basima House here in Wise.
Any social media handles?
Any social media handles. Our X handle is at Policy Uganda.
Okay, and Navulia, any
yes,
social media?
You can get us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can just log into Uganda Youth Development link and you will have us there.
Okay, I will conclude with a comment. In West Nile, I have seen very many women taking full responsibilities over their homes, especially in rural areas. So these women, I think, are very important. Elema from Bweli, thanks for the show. And of course, as we come to a close today, today's conversation reminds us that justice is built not only in institutions, but in homes, schools, workplaces, communities, and also at religious and also customs, customary values and cultural values. When we invest in women's economic empowerment, support young people with skills and opportunities, and communicate responsibly about health and social risks, we do build a Uganda whereby every woman and girl can live with a profound dignity, safety, and hope. Now, as we do celebrate and commemorate International Women's Day on Sunday, let us move from just commitment to action, because investing in women and girls is investing in the future of our nation. Juliet and Navulia, thank you for coming through. It was such a thorough conversation and profound remarks from you.
Thank you.
Happy Women's Day in
Happy
advance.
Women's Day to you too.
Coming up is Ruben with sports. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules, plant extract, scientific ratio, take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning.